You're listening to Rockfight Radio.
A ball sock for all times. It's no ordinary sock. It does what it says it does.
Fit. Our socks merino, but they don't fall down. This sock fits better than your sock. A funky shaped sock that's an elegant solution to budging in the toes, heel slippage, and falling down at the ankle. A sock with patented knit structures that achieve whole foot comfort that you can really feel like, whoa. A sock that acts like a base layer. A sock that's all about the base layer. A thermoregulating moisture wicking body forming base layer. Fits is a sock that fits better than your sock, maybe even the best sock ever. It really could be Fits, a bull sock for all times. It's no ordinary sock. It does what it says it does. Fit, 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 fit. It really could be Fits layer. It really could be Fits. Better than your
Welcome
sock,
back to
maybe.
Rockfight Radio. I'm DJ CT, and that was Bold Sock, the newest track from Fits. Fits has been knitting a hit since 2014 with their patented whole foot comfort approach to making fine gauge merino performance socks. With their custom fit feel that's like nothing else, they make some of the best basics in the biz. Retailers, you only have 2 days left to get your pre-order in by December 31st. That's New Year's Eve, and you'll get yourself free shipping. All right. Let's get back to the show.
Rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight, rock fight.
Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and joining me today, his own family has turned against him, and yet he stands tall as the hero known as the COVID Avenger. It's Justin Housman!
We like to call ourselves novids,
Novids?
Colin. Novids, those of us who stand firm, stand as a bulwark against protecting all of humanity against this virus.
Plus, I don't think you've ever had it either.
That's what I mean. I'm a novid. I've not had COVID.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
I've got no COVID.
They're
That's a
getting
term.
fewer
I
and
didn't make
fewer
that
of
up.
you.
Apparently, they want to start studying us. No, for real though, they actually are. I read before that they are doing some sort of study. Like, why do? Because I've been like sleeping nose to nose with my daughters that had COVID, and I'm just like completely fine.
Didn't pass that gene along to them then, apparally, you know.
Nah, they got to earn it, man. It's like anything else with me. You got to earn it.
So they get the
stoked that
super
you're
soldier
here,
serum.
But at some point, there'll be like a ceremony where it's sort of like being benighted. I'll be like, now we unlock these genes.
All right, it's Wednesday. We're actually recording this on Wednesday. It's going to release today a little bit later than we typically do, but it's New Year's Day. We took the morning off.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. We're back to back here. We got last week we were out for Christmas. This week we're out for New Year's. And today we're going to talk about the top 10 rock fights to come out of the outdoor adventure community in 2024. We did some industry stuff on Monday. Now we're back with Justin to do outdoor adventure stuff today. Before we get to that, though, we got to ask you guys out there, have you subscribed to Rock Fight's weekly newsletter? If not, you have time to get it before next Tuesday when the next edition comes out. You missed yesterday's, but you can get next week's. No Housman article in this week's. He's on vacation. He's recording on a holiday, but we're not going to make him write over the holidays.
Yeah, I'm
That would
making
be
double
cool.
time, double time right now.
That's not in the budget.
My hourly rate.
But head to Rock.
And that's been the episode. Thank you everyone for listening.
He's got to go. We can't pay him anymore on the holiday. Head to rockfight.co and click join the mailing list to sign up for that. And we'd love for you to...
You know what? I'm going to interrupt you for a second here.
Please.
And I have a beef, and it's not just with us. It's with all newsletters. I subscribe to a bunch of newsletters. I don't know of any of them where I can go look at the archive of newsletters. Is that a thing? Because it should be.
It really should be.
I mean, I know it's in my inbox. I realize I could just go to Google.
Yeah, but then you
nice to be able
open
to
100 emails.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool to go to the site and be like, oh, you know what? I loved that newsletter from December of 2023, and then go and find it. That would be cool. Not just for us, for anyone.
Well, I know I can get a PDF of any of the newsletters we put out. And I know we have a blog on our website. So guess what I'm writing on my little to-do list? Newsletter archive creation. That's
There
a
we
great
go.
idea.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you.
See, this is why we keep you around, man. You're just an idea guy.
Well, Colin, I'll jump in here too.
Yeah.
If you're new around here, and I hope so, it's New Year's. Maybe your New Year's resolution is to listen to more white dude podcasts. In which case, have you come to the right place?
And you have a lot of options.
Yeah. Subscribe to our pod, and you join Rock Fight by lobbing a stone at the follow button. You don't have to. You can also just use your finger to tap
It doesn't
it,
work
but
unless it's a rock.
if you show us video of you actually like throwing a rock at your phone and hitting the follow button, holy smokes, we'll do something special for you.
We'll create swag just for you.
Yeah, we're not going to buy you a new phone, but still, you'll be a legend. Yeah, whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, go ahead and just give us a follow, give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a 5-star rating. Give us, if they'll let you go higher, go even higher. Like it was 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, however many stars you want, as long as it's at least 5, or else we will come find you.
That's true.
You're not going to like that. We have the technology to do that now. That's what we've done in 2025. We've upped our like spy game technology.
We pretend we don't like outdoor tech and technology things around here. Just throw you off the scent.
I'm so plugged into the matrix right now.
Oh, and hey, lastly, if you want to reach out to the show, drop us an email. Send an email to myrockfight@gmail.com. We're active. Both of us are active on LinkedIn. We're both on Blue Sky. We're both on Threads. We're both on Instagram.
I'm barely on Threads anymore.
Me
Blue
too.
Sky is really just ramped up to where Twitter used to be, and honestly, I don't even remember Twitter now. It's just like it's always been Blue Sky as far as I'm concerned.
We're not doing a parting shot today. My next parting shot is going to be a Blue Sky Threads related parting shot. I've got it.
Is it about what the posts are called?
No, it's
Okay.
more about how I'll just tease it. The fact that every other relevant journalist and every other industry that has journalism associated with it is migrating to Blue Sky, except the outdoor industry.
Interesting.
They are all on Threads.
Is it because there's a reason for that? And I think it's probably the reason that you and I are kind of bummed by a lot of stuff that happens in the outdoor industry, generally speaking, right? Like there's something
they're lame.
That's actually, I guess it's that simple. There's something there, and I don't know if it's just because like you're already like you're so preoccupied with like the Instagram sort of like picture thing that you're just that ecosystem is a closed loop for you. But I don't know. I think there's some like Blue Sky is inherently more interesting.
Way
It's like
more
when Twitter
interesting.
It's like when people used to be, why do you go on Twitter? I don't get it. And I'd be like, you don't understand. Like, why would I not want to be on something with like the most clever people that I'm interacting with people that write the shit I love to read, and they're fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And I can just interact with them, and it's amazing. And it's like I'm learning a lot. This is great. I'm not just like looking at pictures of whatever. Like this is a whole
and it's like
different thing.
Twitter
And that's how Blue Sky
2012 too,
feels.
right? It's before there's shittiness there, but it's so easy to ignore. Versus it got to the point where you just couldn't ignore it anymore.
Well, that's the problem with Threads, right? It's like you still can't really. I guess they've changed it now, so you can kind of manipulate your feed a little bit more. But like with Blue Sky, is still like what Twitter used to be, where it's like you just see the stuff that you want to follow.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, you can have it on like algorithm mode, but like I just have it on. These are the people I follow, so it's a little closed ecosystem. I'm not getting like some like random shithead barging in and being like, "Here's a take you're gonna hate." It's just the people that I want to follow. It's great.
There were so many people who I missed on. I got just fed up with Twitter, so I'm like, I'm out like early, and then I'm like Threads, like it's kind of doing the job. It kind of like it was enough, right?
It was a bridge.
Yeah, and there was a handful of people who went to Threads, who were not on Twitter anymore. And now all those people who I found interesting, they've all migrated to Blue Sky, except the outdoor people just don't want to come over. To your point, all the interesting people, all the comedians, the journalists, the reason why Blue Sky is interesting is because of those people.
I don't think there was a lot of play in the outdoor space on Twitter either. I mean, like Brendan Leonard and I would like kind of get at each other a little bit on Twitter. Like Crystal Langlaw was really good on Twitter, the writer.
No, you're probably right. The outdoor Twitter scene was pretty barren.
It was pretty barren.
Yeah.
And so maybe I don't know. I don't know what it is.
No.
But I will say though, I've taken to calling every kind of post on any kind of social media, it's a tweet now. I don't care what.
It's just, it's like Kleenex. It's
Kleenex.
Yeah.
It's Xerox or whatever. Like it's just that's what it is. So I'm gonna if we're talking about Blue Sky and I say tweet, that's what you're talking about. Purpose. That's what they're.
I'm on board with that. It makes sense.
Too good of a name.
Yeah, I agree. All right, like we said, this is going to go up late on New Year's Day, and today we're going to run through the topics of the top 10 rock fights of 2024. Looked at the 10 episodes that, basically the listeners you chose because these are the ones you listen to the most. And so Justin and I are going to go through. I'm going to get Justin's knee-jerk reaction and updates on any of the topics or predictions.
And these in order, like 10 is of all of these, 10 was like the 10th most listened to, and 1 is the highest.
Correct. Okay. There was a few sort of gray area ones. There's a couple that kind of bridged. There's one on here that was on both lists, the Monday, the industry list, and this one. But yeah, for the most part, this is all leading towards the one that the folks listen to the most this year.
I am so surprised at what that number 1 is.
I know, right? All right, let's start with number 10 on December 11th, so a recent one. This actually, so wow, this actually cracked the top 10, and it's been out for less than a month. This was Can Outdoor Media Ruin a Town? We talked primarily about Outside's article about Davis, West Virginia. The other things we talked about on that episode were, Justin, your article about hunting grizzlies and the Yellowstone ecosystem, and the acquisition of Rocky Mounts by Claris. Claris is also the owner of brands like Black Diamond. Yeah, it's pretty recent. I don't know if we need to spend a lot of time on this one. Any follow-up thoughts on this one?
Yeah, clearly people wanted to hear about the Rocky Mounts. The Rocky Mounts.
That's it.
That was it. I bet this will be number one in like a month. I mean, the small town thing. This is such catnip for anybody who wants to go outside or thinks about it. The weird part is I'm actually recording this from my new house in Davis, West Virginia. We made it so charming. I had to move out. I bought a Cybertruck and put all my stuff in it, and yeah, I'm using Starlink right now for my new place in Davis. Now, I just right before we started recording, one of my best friends who I went to high school with, she was my first roommate. She's like a sister to me. She lives in LA now, and she rarely goes back to the SLO County area. And she was just like, well, I was back for the first time in like I forget how many years. And we were just talking about the changes she's like, what do you think about like SLO and like Los Osos where you and I camped?
Right.
And she's like, no. And I just went off on about why I don't like it as much anymore because of tech money and like remote working and all this sort of stuff. And this is actually completely new to her. Like she's not in any way in the like, she doesn't travel. She doesn't like, like she works for the city of El Segundo. She lives in El Segundo. Like she's just like, she does not dabble in this space. And she was like, well, what do you mean? Well, how does remote work affect anything? And I explained the whole thing to her, and she was just like, oh my God. Like she's like, that, okay, I get it. Like she was talking about all the different people that she saw in our old little town, how all the restaurants were different and like really expensive and all this sort of stuff. And anyway, and it's like, well, this is the kind of thing that people are just always going to be fascinated by. So
this is a human behavior story more than it is any outdoor story, right?
For sure. Yep. And I still don't know why we do it. Like, I still don't know why. Like, I was thinking about all the articles I've seen that, like, Oprah put San Luis Obispo as her favorite place in the world a while back. And it was like, she used to come into where my wife used to work when she was in college and get sandwiches at this place because she loved them so much. And it was like, Sunset Magazine just blew that up everywhere. Like, Oprah Magazine had pictures of, and there's been a downfall ever since. So, like, it doesn't have to be outside oriented. It could just be like,
could be Oprah.
Hey, people, here's a thing you haven't, like, exploited yet. Let's get on that. So.
I think it depends on the core memories you formed in that place, right? Because, like, I go back to my hometown in Pennsylvania that I never liked growing up, and I still don't like to go visit.
Well, yeah, if a place sucked, it's
no, but now it's better. Like it's grown. There's new restaurants, all these cool things.
Yeah,
and then I can think about the town I lived in New Hampshire that I have a lot of fond memories of. And the last time I was there, I definitely had they're fucking this place up.
Portsmouth.
Yeah. Because they changed a lot there. But I'm like, they just opened a Cava here. I'm like, is anybody going to come back to like, San Marcos, they opened a Cava, like a chain, like, healthy restaurant. They'd be mad about that.
To me, that's all of, I don't even know what Cava is, but that is all of my, like the greater San Diego County area to me is like strip malls is probably
that's Southern California. That's LA
like
too.
Shopping center with like restaurants like that.
But the funny thing about it is a lot of them are really good.
Dude, they are. They're
incredible.
all like the same basic place. Like you're gonna get your compostable bowl, and it's gonna be some kind of like unique take on salads or like noodles that you haven't thought of before. Everything's gonna be $18.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
it's going to be pretty good, but you're also going to be like, is this real? Like, am I doing is this real?
It's a weird thing where like a strip mall restaurant is a place you actively avoided on the East Coast. Like, oh no, don't go eat in that.
Dude,
like,
I think that's that way everywhere but Southern California.
I think it's part of the charm.
Maybe like the Central Valley, like just like driving back from Yosemite yesterday as we're cruising through like little towns like Manteca or whatever. You're like seeing these like strip malls with like taquerias. You're like, that has to be the best taqueria on the fucking planet. Yes. Like I'm going to go in there and I'm going to struggle getting my order across.
I'm never going to leave this place because I want to eat there every day.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to number 9 on the list. On May 20th, this was the first time. Was this the first time? This was the second time we talked about the Grand Canyon tragedy that we spent a few episodes covering about Thomas Robeson. Excuse me, I forgot his name. The gentleman who created his own homemade craft and went paddling down the Grand Canyon, and later it came out that that was a suicide. He had put up his own obituary on YouTube that went live after the fact, that after his body was discovered. And we had Joe Podacek from Paddling Magazine on to talk about that story because they had broken the news on that. I want to get your thoughts on that. But the other big story we talked about on that episode was the Bay Area swimmer who set a record by swimming from the Golden Gate Bridge to the Farallon Islands.
To your point in here that you're about to talk about right now, I forgot all about that.
What, that we talked about that?
No, well, yeah, just that, like, well, sorry, I'm reading along with Colin's notes, but what Colin's about to say is how surprised we were, generally speaking, by lack of coverage about this. I mean, this is such a gnarly thing to do.
The
Like,
Farallon swim you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like if you've ever been to San Francisco and seen the Farallons, the concept of swimming there is laughable. Like, but people have done it, and the fact that like this is the first person to swim from the Golden Gate Bridge to the Farallons. You always do it the other way around.
Yeah,
got no mention, and he's right. Like I remember we talked about this at the time. There wasn't much out there about it.
This
I don't know why
would
this
have
is a bigger
been.
deal.
And I went digging around. I'm like, there must have more coverage of this, and
Yeah.
they actually got picked up on some national media, like
yeah,
CBS
always
This
will be.
Morning, things like that.
Yep.
A lot of
Yep.
local Bay Area outlets, obviously. Nothing from like the endemic outdoor media.
No. Outside needed to do a column that day on like why it's okay to have headphones on in the backcountry instead. They probably covered that.
Well, the funny thing is we talked about this a lot in the kind of the last couple of months when Sonny Stroher came on, and about the kind of the unbalanced way that men and women are covered in the outdoor space.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is a story that like Outside would have had like 3 or 4 pages on in the magazine
Totally.
in probably in the 90s.
Yeah. Or even like other sites like Explorer's Web or something should have done something like this. I mean, this is a real big deal. I mean, we covered long distance swimming in Adventure Journal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's like one article in every print issue about it, just because it's such a burly thing to do. It's fascinating. People can kind of. It's not like climbing where there's like a whole giant skill set involved. They have to learn how to do. Like theoretically, anybody can put themselves in the position to be like, oh, wow, swimming. I forget how many miles it is. 17 miles of open ocean.
Shark
wild
infested
Pacific,
open
shark
ocean.
infested, freezing cold. Like wow. But I forgot about it. So clearly, like there's, I don't know. It for some reason it doesn't like spark the kind of interest to make this like a memorable thing. I couldn't tell you the person's name. I have no idea
Amy
who it was.
Rubson, I believe, was her name.
Oh, no, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was like a
She's like a
she wasn't
grandma.
like super. Exactly, I
Yeah.
forgot about that. Yeah. See,
That's what I mean. The story gets more
It's an even better
interesting.
story. It's an even better
Forget
story.
this is May 20th. This is like a month or two after Jasmine Paris wins the Barkley. So
Yeah.
like we already covered the incredible woman, and then because that's when Sunny didn't get any coverage except when you and I talked about when she did the trail the Iditarod Trail ski that she did up in Alaska. So that's the only woman to ever do that. I know everybody seems to have good intentions about like we got to make the outdoors less about the skinny white guy, but it's like. We are going to talk about another story that was good for women in a few minutes that we hit on. I don't want to spoil that, but man, it just and I do look back.
Well,
I think that this would have been covered. I just know this
No, I
would have
agree.
been covered by Outside back in the day.
I agree, and it's a shame that it's not because it's a really big deal. But I mean, the popularity of this episode had to have been from the paddling guy, the Grand Canyon guy. I mean, there's something we're all fascinated by this sort of thing. Death in wild places is always going to pique people's interest. It was a fascinating story. It's one of those things where there's like I believe we talked about the time. Like my first knee jerk reaction to this story was like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember thinking there was almost something a little bit not like romantic, but something kind of like, you know what? God, good for you, dude. Godspeed. Like, what a way to go. Like, that's like, there's something kind of neat about it, something kind of beautiful about it. I mean, Jesus, that could be a terrible thing to say. I don't know the guy. I don't know what his situation
I don't think
was.
so. I agree
But
with
I mean,
you.
Like, there's something there where I can see like that must have been a really powerful moment for that guy.
Yeah, you're not giving it
And,
an endorsement, but you're saying you could see it. You get it. I mean, I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you go on YouTube, you find his obituary. It's out there if you want to go find it. You kind of get the sense that this was his choice and he was very comfortable with it.
It's like one of those things where like we all know that like capitalism is awful and like Western civilization is like built on an edifice of just total bullshit, right? And that we're just clinging on for dear life. And then you think so often, especially like this last week is a great example where virtually everybody's off for an entire week. And so you're like, I don't want to go back to work. I don't ever want to work again.
Yeah.
Like that's what everyone's saying to each other. And it's like you'll have these fantasies. It's like, well, that's what this guy did, right? He moved out to some land, like did some like odd jobs to like have food money, but like just bowed out of the system. And then when he was done. And it's like, how do you find fault there?
You can't.
Like this is like the kind of thing that a lot of us dream about.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Next story, number 8, November 13th. This was the big one, one of the big ones, and we did touch on this on Monday. Yeti to Sunset Mystery Ranch, where you and I broke the news from GOA Connect about Yeti's plan to sunset Mystery Ranch. This is probably the 4th episode in a row because I came back to it after the Gear Patrol article that came out a few weeks ago, where we got referenced on Mystery Ranch. Any follow-up thoughts on the whole Mystery Ranch thing? You've had a chance by the way in since this episode. Any thoughts on that?
I was using my Mystery Ranch toiletry kit all week in Yosemite.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I looked at it, maybe a little bit sad. But then also I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Just because
It's exclusive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just like, no, not anything new. Just it's a bummer. It's a bummer. But that's going back to what I was just saying about capitalism sucks, right? Like you kind of find something you really love, and then it's someone that has nothing to do with you decides it's going to go away, and you're like, well, shit, and I can make my own bags or whatever, figure it out. But I mean, I also wasn't like I'm not like a giant Mystery Ranch fan. So to me, I'm kind of trying to put myself in a position of somebody who would care a lot. I think a lot about your question probably during that episode about like what brands do you actually, like what brand going away would make you sad, or do you actually care about? And there's so few really at the end of the day, because it's a transactional sort of experience.
It's kind of about what I have now. Like I'm right now wearing the Royal Robbins merino hoodie.
Yeah.
And right now, I'd be so bummed if Royal Robbins went away.
Right. Well,
but until I got this, I'd be like, oh, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that shirt is amazing. But yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do? That's just the nature of the world.
It's just stuff.
It's just stuff.
It's just stuff. All right, number 7 on the list, October 23rd. The jail time FKT, and also the most famous foot on Everest. This is the episode where Patty O'Connell joined us, and we spoke about ultra runner Michelino Sunseri facing charges for his FKT attempt on the Grand Teton. I almost said Canyon. The Grand Teton. This is where he set an FKT for climbing the Grand, but was caught cutting switchbacks, and was actually formally charged by, I assume it was the local, was it the Park Service?
Yes. Yeah. Or the Department of Interior.
Update on that. Didn't look it up by a Jackson Hole newspaper. The case is headed to court. There's a trial expected to start in May. It's a bench trial, which means there'll be no jury, so a judge will rule on this. It does they seem to be inferring that the reason why they're letting this go is to kind of shine a light on, frankly, how kind of ridiculous it is that there's charges being filed against this guy. Like, the purists out there who don't think anybody should cut switchbacks, like, I'm sure you have an argument to be made, but does someone really need to go to jail for that? Like, is that really?
Yeah, I was thinking about that while hiking the 4 Mile Trail in Yosemite Valley this week, because like most of that trail is switchbacks, and you can see like all the obvious ways that people have cut the switchbacks over the years. And like, nope, dutifully, I didn't do it. Just kept on the path because, it's like, I get why. But it is kind of amazing to think about. But it also, the reason that became a thing is like, you got to make an example out of somebody at some point, right? Like, people do it enough and it like fucks up the area. And it's like, well, here's somebody who's going to like make a big splash about this. Like, this is the kind of person that is going to, like, if I did it, if it was literally just me and I got my hands in my pockets, I'm not filming anything and I cut a switchback, I'm sure, and a ranger saw, they'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
They probably would have told me what could have happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, if I was a sponsored athlete blasting about it all over Strava and everything else, well, yeah, dude, that's how you're the one they're going to make an example of. But this case is also like spawned, I don't know if we talked about this we talked about this. Like, this is the case that also, they sued the Park Service about opening up the ability to be able to film in parks,
right?
Without like a commercial license or whatever, getting a proper permit. So this story just keeps on giving. It's just like there's like a new wrinkle all the time.
Yeah, they reference that in the Jackson newspaper article about how that case should go away as soon as Joe Biden signs the Explore Act, which he still hasn't done yet, apparently, as of a couple of days ago. So,
well, is he still with us? President
he's
Biden?
just checked out.
I mean,
he's at Rehoboth Beach in Delaware, just chilling.
Like, the other thing that I think is funny about this case, or any case like this, is the dude pled not guilty, but homie, we got your Strava like, we know where you went. Like, what? I guess maybe the whole idea is that you convinced a judge that what you did wasn't bad. I don't fucking know, but it's still like, it's the letter of the law. Like, what are you gonna? You can't say that you didn't do it. You did it. We know you did it. Like, what's there to plead?
It's a little kid defense.
About?
You catch them with candy, and they're like, "You can't have that." You're like, yeah, but I wanted it. Like, that's it. But you're not allowed to have it. Yeah, but I really wanted to eat this candy.
God, she is so amazing. We can't watch Paw Patrol, but I want to.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Believe me, I get that every fiber of your being, this makes sense to you, but no.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely, now that this is continuing, I'm sure we're going to talk about it going into 2025. So we'll have to see. May is the trial. Yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on what happens in court. We need to create some level of, above admonishment of like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, but below
Yeah, but
going to
before
jail.
actual jail time.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, because you're a famed Karen kicker. Like, you don't like Karens. But
Yeah.
you wouldn't sell, if anyone was building little rock piles, you wouldn't want to put them in jail, would you?
No, that's a good point. It's a really good point. I don't. Yeah, Well, yeah, maybe that's his defense, right? Like, look, I already got my ass handed to me in public opinion. Like, I don't need to go to fucking jail.
Right. Yeah.
So, honestly, maybe that will work. But like, if he's gonna have some sort of grandiose like thing about how the Park Service is overreaching, and here's like a soil scientist who's gonna talk about why like cutting a switchback isn't a problem. I mean, good luck with that, dude.
Well, and also stay tuned for later this year when Justin and I debut our new ska band, Michelino Sunseri, because that'll be that'd be a great band name.
I wonder what there's no way people call him Michelino. I wonder what his friends
I
call
want to
him.
have a T-shirt that just says Michelino Sunseri.
I mean, that's Michael, right?
Probably Michael Sunset. Is that what that is?
Maybe. That's awesome.
All right, number 6 on the list. On July 2nd, we had Patagonia's wetsuit breakthrough. And we also talked about cabins versus office. This is high on the list for what I thought this would be. I think it's probably because the first story we talked about was the 4-year-old who set a record as the youngest hiker to hike all of New Hampshire's 4,000 footers.
Yeah, probably.
That was but I kind of looked through. I went around searching for backlash. I'm like, someone must have gotten on their high horse about this, even more so than like you or I did. And not really. It was kind of like just out there, and no one else really commented on it.
This is really your bugaboo.
I know.
I mean, I don't love it either,
right.
but man, you get really annoyed. Remember the bike packers? You probably talked about it on that episode.
I'm sure I did.
I'm sure that you did.
I've scarred
you. Know what's
you.
funny? This is the episode we also asked each other whether we'd be more productive working in a cabin or an office, which is amazing because I've spent most of my time in Yosemite in the evenings after my kids were asleep researching could I turn like an 8x10 tough shed I could buy at Home Depot into an office.
Just to get out of the house.
Turns out you can. Yeah. And so that's my I need to like scrape together like $10,000 this year to build like a man cave / office in the backyard. I have 2 solar panels. I don't know if that'd be enough to run everything in there on solar. I'd be bitching if it was.
Well, you can always bring
Otherwise, I
stuff
gotta
in and
run-
charge it, in the house.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I would love to have it be like also have like a little bed in there, and just like because
Are you moving out?
I'm moving out is what I'm saying. I can only tolerate so much. Actually, what will happen is I'll build that thing, and within 10 seconds, it's going to be filled with Paw Patrol toys and like princess
That's
dolls,
right.
and I'm never
Daddy
going to
built
go
us
in
a
there again.
playhouse.
That's what happened with the canvas tent. Like this is gonna be sick. I put a bunch of like throw pillows around. I'm just gonna lounge back here,
Right.
like 1001 Arabian Nights style. Just like have the flaps, tent flaps billowing in the warm wind of the summertime. No, I went in there like twice. My little girl's trashed it within 5 seconds.
Or it goes the other way where you're the only one in there, but you start looking like Thor in Avengers Endgame, where like it's just piles of like empty beer cans around you, and you've got like 6 days of growth on your face. And
He looked. I gotta say, he looked great. That dad bod. I thought he looked better there.
For years, outdoor brands have shouted to the skies, each claiming their gear is better, tougher, and smarter than the next. They bragged about seams and fabrics, about features you didn't need. And when the world started caring about the planet, those same brands tried to have it both ways, making the same old stuff, but slapping on a green label to soothe the conscience. But Livson isn't like the rest. Livson was born to help you strip it all down, to live with intention. Own less, live more. It's a simple creed, but simplicity is what matters most. We've been timeless since before we even had a name. Livson grew out of a deep hunger for freedom, a love for this earth, and the people who walk it. We don't obsess over the gear. We focus on the life the gear lets you live. Retailers, think on this. How many brands do you carry that are cut from the same old cloth, filling racks with sameness? Couldn't your floor use something different? A brand that doesn't just sell clothes, but sells a way of being? Livson gear is built to last, to be repaired, to stick with your customers for a lifetime of trails, peaks, and adventures. In the Ozarks, we have an honest, gritty sensibility with a sharp edge of style. It's what happens when the love of the land meets a modern streak. And if you're wondering, Livson's founder, Andrew Gibbs Dabney, can explain it better than anyone. Look, here's the straight talk. We believe in Livson enough to put our name on it. Send in your Fall 25 preseason orders by January 15th. Mention this podcast, and you'll get the Rock Fight preseason special, a clean 2% off stacked on top of Livson's own preseason program discounts. Don't wait. Stock the brand that's burning hot in the outdoor world, the brand that's here for the long haul. Be a rock fighter, not just another retailer. Livson. Own less, live more. All right, number 5 on the list. This was the other story I was teasing earlier. On June 10th, we talked about how the Red Bull Rampage is letting women in to participate. That came up, and that actually came to pass then on October 10th. 7 of the world's best women's riders lined up to compete at the Rampage for the first time since the event started in 2001. Robin Gooms of New Zealand took home the victory. Great, incredible moment. Very well covered by everyone in the outdoor adventure space, but kind of like we were alluding to earlier, still a lot of work to be done because it's just very hit or miss of like what gets covered when it comes to women in sport in the outdoor sports world.
I mean, I'm planning on like basically rectifying that in my house, because my 2 daughters will most likely be professional athletes. So
Love it.
I mean, they might not want to be, but they're going to be.
I think the more I look at Harper, she needs to start playing ice hockey. I think that's what needs to happen.
Dude, she would be so good. She'd be so good. But like we were actually watching the girls, the women's Red Bull Rampage at the local bike shop / beer place. Me and Olivia, the 5-year-old, she was so stoked.
That's so cool.
And like when we're watching, they always show mountain bike videos there. And like if we're watching a downhill race, she'll be like, "Is that a man or is that a woman?" Like everyone that goes, "Oh, well, she's a boy and girl," but like, "Is that a boy or is that a girl?" And like every time I'd be like, "Oh, it's a girl," she'll be like, "Yeah," like gets all excited.
That's awesome.
And so like this is this is going to be, I think, a big part of our lives, or at least my lives growing up is like kind of like well, they're in a good space though, right? Like it's a good time now for it to be like women can do anything the men can do.
Yeah. Like
let's figure out a way to get them paid properly, all that sort of stuff. So they're in a really good position for that. So, but yeah, that's. I get super excited about any of this sort of stuff.
The other thing we talked to that kind of lingered on throughout the year on this episode was our first reactions to the Coast talking headlamp or headlamp you can talk to.
I'm just all Coast all the time now.
I'm using it. I've got it shining on me on the episode.
Actually using it right now. I used one of my Coast flashlights in Yosemite at night all this last week. Okay, here's a brand I'd care about if they went away.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
I was telling my wife this. I'm like, I don't really even understand what it is. The craftsmanship is great. Well, actually, the thing that's built the cheapest of all the stuff that we have is the headlamp.
Yeah,
right, kind of plasticky and but like the flashlights are freaking.
They're so good.
They're just a joy to hold.
They've sent us 2 flashlights, and I don't know how to describe. There's when you get like someone has like a really high end credit card and it actually has weight to it.
Yeah,
and you're like, ooh, that sensation. That's how these flashlights feel like. You pull them out of the box, you're like, oh, this shit's good. It's just that weight to it. Yeah.
That silver one that has like that, I think they call it the beam or the beamer. I forget what it's called, but it can make that really tight beam.
Mm-hmm.
That thing it's like a tiny mag light. Oh,
yeah.
And it just feels so good. It kind of feels like you're holding a small lightsaber.
It kind of does. I think even the whatever the blade does as well. Yes, the Slayer. Excuse the Slayer.
Slayer.
Got it right there.
That thing is so sick. Like, how is there not a knife in there?
I know.
It feels like you're going to push a button and a knife blade.
We need the flashlight switchblade combo. And this is funny. This episode we should feel kind of bad about because we were critical. Like, who the hell needs a talking headlamp you can talk to while we were reading the review of this? Now they turned into actually the first time either one of us has had a favorite lighting brand that has never happened before.
100%. Yeah, so it's incredible. Yeah, good job, Coast.
Good job, Coast, and good job us for being judgy assholes who then got Coast's attention and then they gave us stuff.
That's what makes it more fun, to be honest. It's like like when you're free to talk shit about brands for doing things poorly. Like you're also free to like praise them.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, there's no way to. I've been a gear reviewer long enough to know there's really no way around people assuming that like you're only saying things about a brand because you got. Well, the people think you get paid for it, which is wild.
Right.
But more likely that you got it for free, so you have to talk. Nicely about it. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's exactly the opposite. Like, I feel like I'm far more inclined to like defend something I paid for with my own money if it doesn't work well. Because it's like I feel like I don't know what it is. I feel like I got duped or something.
Yeah,
like I want to justify the expense. But if I go out and spend $1,000 on something and like it doesn't work great, I'm more likely to be like, oh yeah, there's some issues, but man, this thing is amazing. Whereas if it's free, I don't give a shit. It's like, oh yeah, this like $3,000 like rooftop tent. I don't know. I wouldn't buy it. Whatever. Because you're just like, I don't have any. I'm not like, I don't feel indebted to it or whatever. So anyway.
All right, number 4 on the list, July 8th. Should fireworks be banned? And actually, I have an update on this for me because this was an outside online article kind of making the case about fireworks, and should they be banned? And like all the reasons why they're not environmentally responsible and they're bad for pets and all of these things. And the more I reflected on this after the fact, is like outside really has a tendency sometimes to like yell fire in a crowded room. Like we're just going to like throw this sort of big idea out there and then kind of run away from it and not really, want to engage on like kind of how unlikely that is to happen. And here's my point. I was actually on the phone with my buddy who was the best man at my wedding yesterday. And I knew we were going to talk about this. As he was leaving his office, it's this New Year's Eve, and we're having this conversation. I hear him have a conversation with somebody he works with about making sure like they're safe while setting off the fireworks tonight. Right? New Year's Eve. And like, this is in like wherever in Tennessee, and it's just like, this is not going to happen. Like, so this is just, it's such like, if you're going to broach this conversation, there needs to be some like a way to kind of be like, if we're going to get rid of fireworks, here's what we would have to do. Probably not likely. So, hey, support these things instead. It really kind of, this is sort of like just dropping a bomb in something and like running away is like, kind of bothers me.
I agree. I get that. And also, what are we supposed to do? Not blow stuff up? I mean, come on.
I know. It's fun to blow stuff up.
Last night I was asleep and then was woken up at like 1 a.m. by continued fireworks. I'm just like, oh yeah. That's what happens after 40, folks. Like fireworks wake you up on New hey, Happy New Year.
What month is it? This is July? Yeah. No, January.
Now the Kings are winning 5-4. Oh, that's great.
That's all I had to say about that. Number 3 on the list, May 13th, the Baja Surfer tragedy. This is where we talked about the 3 surfers down in Mexico who were murdered. There was, the update I found on this was that as of July, there were 4 suspects that had been arrested in connection with that murder, which I guess doesn't always happen in a lot of these cases. I couldn't find much else after that, though. So I'm not sure if you know anything more about this in the surf world.
I don't. Other than gosh, no, nothing I would want to say that because I don't know enough about it. I've heard some rumors about like what probably ended up going down, but like they're just rumors. I have no idea if they're true, so I don't want to like get into it. I will say that it kept me from going to Baja this year. I was planning a trip to Baja. I wasn't like that deep into planning, but I was strongly considering going to Baja in July for my birthday to the East Cape. But didn't because I'm just like, I just don't. There's other places to go where like people aren't occasionally getting murdered randomly. So maybe I'll go there instead. I chose to not go anywhere because that's what happens when you're a middle-aged dad. But Baja is somehow still in 2024 the land of the total Wild West. So
you think it might get might reconsider this year? Might go this year?
I don't know. Honestly, like I just don't. I don't think I would feel good about it at this point. I mean, Baja is awesome. There's a lot of really good stuff there. I mean, Cabo is different. Cabo's like pretty safe. I mean, most of Baja is super safe.
Right.
But I've been to where these guys were killed, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, like, again, I don't know exactly what they were doing. But I don't know. I've had enough experiences in the middle of nothing in Baja where some dude drives up to you in a car and gets out and has like and you're like, what's going to happen here? And like usually actually, every time that happened to me, it would be like a guy going, "Hey, this land is like our family's ancestral land. Like, can you help us out with some like money for camping on it?" Oh, here you go, dude. Here's $5.
Right.
But you just never really knew, So I'm not really down for that anymore. Nope.
The other thing we talked about in that episode were the Arctic Cowboys, which are the kayakers who set the record for paddling through the Northwest Passage, and the charges were brought against them for camping illegally on that trip, and the charges were dropped. So
I'm kind of glad about that. We talked about how unless they were doing it on purpose to fuck with the birds, this is a life or death situation. Like if you need to camp, you need to camp, and like I'm just So, I mean, but then they're called the Arctic Cowboys, which every time I remember that, I get mad. And I think, you know what, throw them in jail. They should probably go to jail just for that, just being called the Arctic Cowboys.
So take out the Arctic Cowboys, based on the merits of the charges alone, who should go to jail, Michelino Sunseri or the Arctic Cowboys? Camping where the birds...
Michelino, if one of them has to go to jail...
Yeah.
From what I understand, I don't.
So the Arctic Cowboys camped where, like, on a bird sanctuary, and they were supposed to either go back. They weren't supposed to go there.
They weren't supposed to be there. You're not supposed to set foot there.
Michelino cut some switchbacks, trying to set an FKT.
If I knew that the Arctic Cowboys had no choice, which I believe is what they said, had no choice but to camp there because of like weather conditions, I think they're fine. If it was, if they pulled a Sunseri. And we're just like, rules don't apply to us.
We have a new thing.
Then they should go to jail. So I'm leaning Arctic Cowboys because I suspect they probably fucked up on like and not did it on purpose. Where Sunseri was like, I'm just going to cut these switchbacks. I don't care what the sign says.
Bringing Michelino back into it kind of plays into the next one. On September 7th, this is our second most listened to episode, which was titled, Should We Care About Kilian Jornet's New Record? This is primarily about Kilian Jornet's new record that he set in the Alps.
By the way, my answer to that is no. I'm sure it was then, and I don't even remember what the record was. You may have even just said it.
He ran like 82 peaks in the Alps, and he did it in like a record amount of time.
Man, that's cool.
I think we said at the time he's superhuman, so like we all
Yeah,
should-
it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. The Terminator could also do that. You know, no, I mean, it's awesome. Like, I wish I did, but I don't know.
Actually, there's the could Killian Jornet could he kill Sarah Connor because the Terminator
Could he?
couldn't.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he could.
Yeah.
But like, could like Killian Jenner run away from Terminator long enough to like live from it? That'd be a fun one.
Look, you said you like running. You just got to keep running, and you'll
Just
be all
keep
right,
doing it, man.
Just
Yeah.
keep running.
Oh, man, they need to do one with like Terminators like in like the Himalaya, where like they're just climbing shit or whatever, like just to get.
Yeah, would they
after
be
people.
affected by like severe cold? Would they freeze?
Gotta think so. I gotta think so. That would actually be such a rad way for the Terminator franchise to like go into like basically like humanity just lives on Hoth or whatever. Just like we just moved to the poles. I guess I guess the super intelligent AI would probably figure out how to keep their robots going.
They built-in heaters. Like,
They'd probably just figure that part out.
bunch
God,
of Terminators with like
AI
a
wins
space heater
again.
right there.
How'd they figure this out? We're just like they're just like wearing the same jackets as people are. Ah, shit.
Yeah, they're warm. Shit, man.
That's all. It's oh, they're just wearing human flesh. It's keeping them nice and warm.
All right, and the number one episode that we talked about in 2024 was on May 6th, which was Patagonia's new movie, and Nepal's Everest ruling, as well as trash on the PCT. So we talked about it. Somebody calculated how much trash is actually on the PCT. I don't remember the
It was
exact
like
number.
20,000 pounds.
It was a lot.
It was a
It
huge
was a
amount.
huge amount. And that's not like what they've collected off of the PCT.
And that was
That's
all
just-
from one dude, which is
Did you see that footage of that guy just driving a trash truck on the PCT, just unloading the whole way? Just ejecting shit out the back? What else we talking about? Oh, and then we had a lot of Everest news. Remember a couple times we tried to like put a moratorium on Everest news this year, but they kept coming back.
that's what it's. May is the climbing season, so it's gonna happen.
Yeah, we should start gearing up, right? We're a few months away from Everest news to
Yeah.
start.
What happened? This is the trash ruling. What was the trash ruling? Oh, you have to bring everything down with you, as if that wasn't already a rule.
No, I think it was just sort of like, I think the big takeaway we had from the trash thing was...
Oh, this is the shuttling gear back and forth. Yes. That's right. That's right.
Oh,
that's right.
on Nepal. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you
yeah.
were back to the PCT.
Oh no. Oh yeah. Shit. No, I don't know what to do about that. That's. I don't really understand how that happens. Like, how does that even happen?
Well, the thing about that I thought was interesting was like, there's just, you're going, if you're out there long enough, you're going to leave trash behind. Like something's going to break off your pack
Yeah,
or your
that's
pole
right.
or
That's
like,
right.
you know,
That's
like
right.
a wrapper's going to fall out of your pocket or whatever. You're like, it's inevitable.
Do you get bummed? Like, how bummed do you get with litter, generally speaking, when you see it?
Depends where I am. Like if I'm on the PCT and there's like a goo wrapper, like occasionally I'm like, I understand. It's usually like when it's near my house and it's like
Sure.
on the sidewalk and
Yeah, like someone clearly did this, like dropped this here. Or
someone
something.
did it intentionally or how many
Yeah.
people have walked by and not picked it up.
I was thinking about that on this last trip, just because it's wintertime. There's way fewer people in Yosemite than normal, but there's still like I hiked a little bit of a trail that was like closed,
Mhm.
and there was still like fresh like bits of like toilet paper or something where someone like blew their nose, I presume, or I don't know what. There's always like toilet paper or like wipes on the trail.
Yeah.
I'm always like,
I've noticed that too.
and it's like I gotta think that's someone that just is like this will just degrade.
It'll
you
degrade.
know?
But
Or-
then
or
put
like-
it like under a rock where I can't see it. If you're gonna litter, can you litter
Yeah,
responsibly, please?
I had to like kick a bunch of orange peels off the trail because there was like someone sat and just had an orange and clearly just dropped all their orange peels like oh, this is nature. It's like,
Yeah.
God fucking damn it. But I get really like high and mighty about that. And then yesterday on the way home when my daughter first started throwing up in the car, and we're pulled over off of Highway 120 in the middle of nothing, and I'm like standing outside as we're like getting her cleaned up, and I'm just looking around at all the garbage.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, is this people throwing shit out their windows? It's probably not. It's probably just like someone had
Blowing
the
out
back
the
of their
back
truck
of a
and
pickup
forgot.
truck or
Yeah, and it just blows here, just accumulates. Like I doubt there's that many people just throwing cans out the window.
No, I think there's probably not that many people doing that.
And then you realize how many times you've done that without realizing it. You left a cup on your roof and you drove off and just never thought about it again.
Right.
And that cup is still somewhere. Like
Somewhere.
that plastic lid is like in a fucking bush in Tucson somehow, and you're just and someone's like, "What an asshole!" And you have no idea.
You have no
what
clue that you
happened.
were that asshole.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's the lack of initiative by others. Like so, the town I live in is it's suburbia for San Diego, but it's still like we still have a lot of good infrastructure. There's a lot of bike paths and everything, and there's well placed trash cans. Like if I'm walking my dog and I got to pick up dog poop, it's not long that I have to carry it before I have some place to throw it away. And
Yeah.
these trails and sidewalks and everything are well used. I mean, there's always people out hiking, walking, running, riding bikes, whatever, walking their dogs. So I know that when I'm passing, sometimes if I don't pick something up and 3 days later it's still there, and I'm like, oh man, so I pick it up, and I almost always will pick up trash along the way. If it's like, this is blue over here, I'll pick it up. And when it's something, I feel like I'm the only one who does that. I guess I'm probably not, but like that's the stuff that bothers me. Yeah,
I do that. Like if I'm walking around town, I pick stuff up all the time. I don't know why I haven't done like I actually bought a little like grabber thing so that like I could go out occasionally like pick shit up off the street, which I've done like once or twice.
Right.
But I would love to do like an adopt a highway one of these days. I don't know why I don't.
Yeah.
I see people just doing it on their own, like on like Sir Francis Drake, which is a gorgeous road that winds out to the coast from here through the redwoods. And like I'll see people out there, and I know they're not part of a program. They're just picking up garbage.
Right.
And like I don't know, we should all do that. Anytime I'm walking, God, there's no better feeling than high and mighty, holier than thou, like jolt you get if you're like walking up the beach after you surfed and you see like a piece of plastic on the beach and you get to like bend down, pick it up, and just be like, make a big dramatic production and be like, gah.
It's so true.
And you just like holding it as you get it to the trash can and you like throw it away, just like, gah. You're just looking around to see people are noticing your like Captain Planet vibes as you're like cleaning the beach.
It's every sport too, right? I've definitely like picked up stuff while I'm biking and put it in my pockets. And then you get to the trailhead, you're like making a real scene of like, I'm going to empty out my stuff. Like clearly this is not mine.
Yeah. This is keep looking. Thank God I'm here. Right? Yeah.
So an animal could have choked on this.
My daughter would get so pissed. God, she would get pissed at you. Whoever's doing, I guess her teachers, whoever's in charge of the 5-year-olds in this world, they're doing a really great job about convincing them that littering is bad. She's very angry at the concept of littering and hurting nature, is what she likes to say.
Wait till she, like 7 years from now when she's like, doesn't
she's
care.
Like smoking cigarettes and just like flicking the filters in the street. Both of us. This is great. I was waiting for you to get old enough to have
that
some
up, old
cigarettes
man.
with me. I was really looking forward to picking smoking up again. This is working out great. Just make my kind of just push your daughter in the direction of the vices that you want and like re-engage with, so that you'll have an excuse.
I never did heroin, but I heard it's great.
You know what? This is good daddy-daughter time.
You might want to consider checking that out when you're a little older. Not today.
Oh Lord God.
Anything else you want to say about 2024?
I did not have a great one, generally speaking, but you know what? It's been fun. It's been fun. It's been a fun Rock Fight year. Rock Fight really grew a lot in 2024. Clearly, if we can figure this fucking thing out, there's a big audience for this. We just need to massage it into the right sort of like form. But
you can help by following the podcast, and
you could, yeah. And eventually, when we get our act together, we will, get our survey out so we can give the people what they really want. But my main thought is just thanks for being part of this journey with us. If you're still listening at the 1 hour mark of this, was supposed to be a quick episode. But this has been this like Rock Fight's definitely been highlighted by 2024. Aww. So doing these with you, and also just the people that we've met, and the enthusiasm that we run into, and people tell us how much they like the show has been great to see. So that's my highlight of 2024.
Aw. Love you, man.
Aww. I love you too.
All right, let's wrap it up there. Like I said, no parting shot today. Back to normal next week. Like we said at the beginning, too, we want your emails. Send them to myrockfight@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of this episode, of the stories you like the best from 2024, what you want to hear more of in 2025, and the Rock Fight's production, Rock Fight LLC. For Justin Housman, I'm Colin True. Thanks for listening. And one last time it's already New Year's Day. For the first time, 2025, it's Krista Makes. He's going to sing the Rock Fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Rock fight.